Yannick Hoff here. I'm about to lay out the exact method I used to literally turn my life around by doubling my testosterone naturally and finally getting jacked. Now, I've always been into sports. I wanted to be the jacked guy, and after my first few years of lifting, I've gotten in decent shape. After that, though, I seem to have hit a wall. I tried everything: push-pull legs, bro split, keto diet, you name it. About a year ago, 6 years into lifting, still on a plateau, I got my blood work done. Turns out I had the testosterone levels of a 50-year-old at age 26. Now that was my tipping point. I started doing research and I did everything in my power to restore my testosterone levels naturally. This got me in the best shape of my life and also finally gave me the confidence to leave the 9 to 5 I hated and go all in on my true passion, which is fitness. Nowadays, I help men get jacked by maxing their testosterone using a method, my own method, called the Natty Fix.
What is poppin'? Yannick Hoff here. This is my video on how I doubled my testosterone naturally and finally got jacked. First of all, I would like to share some proof. I 1.5x'd my testosterone and 2.4x'd my free testosterone in a matter of 7 months. And the reason I had low testosterone was basically my shitty lifestyle. I was very skinny. I indulged. I was having junk food. I was smoking for about 3 to 4 years. I was drinking, partying, going out. I was basically living a really bad lifestyle while at the same time trying to work out a lot. And this combo is literally what's going to kill your testosterone. Now, I changed my life by applying the Natty Fix and got in the best shape of my life. I literally feel so much better now. I'm in the best shape ever. And I finally have the respect I want to as a guy that goes a lot to the gym. So, this video is for those that are struggling to build muscle and lose body fat, that are constantly low on energy, fatigued, if you're depressed and have no motivation, no drive, and if you're overly agreeable and have low confidence, this video is surely for you, especially if you're unhappy with where you're at in life. If you're on a plateau despite having tried everything, keep watching because what I'm about to share with you is going to get you on the next level. If you're not, however, willing to take action and make a lifestyle change or aren't ready to eliminate bad habits, if you're willing to keep living a life in comfort and not make any sacrifices, and you want to keep looking for the quick fix, this video isn't for you. And there's a chance that if you apply the Natty Fix, you will have to sacrifice relationships. So be ready for that. Now, what is the Natty Fix? It consists of 3 phases. Phase number 1 is a identity shift. Phase number 2 is laying the foundation. And phase number 3 is consistency and optimization. But before I get into these, I quickly want to explain what even is testosterone. Testosterone is the primary male sexual hormone responsible for your drive, your motivation, your libido, building muscle, and a whole bunch of other things. Testosterone basically goes into your cells and binds to receptors and then basically expresses certain things, whether that's building muscle, growing hair, increasing bone density. There's a variety of function that testosterone supports. And what you need to know as well is that there's your regular testosterone, which is like the total concentration that's found in your blood. And then there's the free testosterone. So total testosterone is bound to certain receptors, and free testosterone is a lot less. It's like 1 to 3% of your total testosterone that's unbound in your bloodstream, so your body has it available for usage. In order to become a high testosterone man, you first need to have a identity shift. Ask yourself these questions. Why do you want to change? Who is the old self that you're looking to leave behind? Who is the new self that you want to become? And where do you want to be in 6 to 12 months? Pause this video right now, write these questions down, resume to the video, and afterwards, you're gonna go reflect on these questions. Now, next up, we have the foundation. You need to lay a foundation and build a routine around your diet, lifestyle, and training in order to become a high testosterone man and get jacked. Now, the Natty Fix diet revolves around nutrient dense and single ingredient foods. This is your top priority. You want to focus on animal based foods or foods that grow on earth. And you also want to opt in for the highest quality foods available and affordable to you. Now, besides that, you have to avoid inflammatory foods and endocrine disruptors. What that is, I'm going to get into in a second. A lot of people in the testosterone maxing space obsess about micronutrients. We don't do that at the Natty Fix. You don't need to obsess over them because if you stick to the list of foods that I'm about to give you won't have to worry about hitting your micronutrient targets. You want to opt in for high cholesterol. 40% of your total calories should come from fats, ideally from animals. And you want to hit your proteins 1.8 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilograms of body weight. The rest of your calories you fill up with carbohydrates depending on your fitness goal. And one part of the Natty Fix is adjusting your macronutrients on the weekly. Let me give you an example. If you're looking to cut, you're not going to go straight into a drastic caloric reduction. So you're not going to eat so much less at the beginning just in order for your body to be stressed and hold on to even more fat because of that. If you're cutting, you want to go lower in baby steps, and the same goes for bulking. That way, your metabolism can adapt easily to a difference in caloric intake. The Natty Fix diet consists of high quality meat. You want to have free range eggs and raw dairy, very micronutrient dense. You want to focus on high quality cheeses made from raw dairy. And as for complex carbs, you want to opt in for buckwheat, different types of rice, potatoes, and sweet potatoes. Now, you want to hit your fats also with different types of nuts. Make sure they're untreated, unsalted, not have any seasoning that's cheap and industrially made. And you also want to make sure they're completely natural, unheated, in order to avoid loss of micronutrients. Now, what you also want to focus on is high quality fats from avocado, olive oil, coconut oil. Butter and ghee is something you can use to cook. Then you want to also focus on fruits and raw honey. Besides that, you can have a few vegetables here and there, but they're actually not that big of a priority in your diet, and in my opinion, massively overrated. As for the foods you want to avoid, it's alcohol. That shit kills your REM sleep, and your testosterone is being produced in your REM sleep. You also want to make sure you avoid refined carbs and sugar because that will spike your insulin and will result in higher estrogen, which lowers your T as well. You want to make sure you avoid all ready made meals and junk food because these are full of preservatives that can disrupt your gut microbiome. As for nut butters and seed oils, you want to avoid these because they're very high in omega-6 fatty acids and they are linked to chronic inflammation and other diseases. Besides that, you also want to avoid any pasteurized dairy because it may contain residues or synthetic chemicals. And also during the pasteurization process, the milk proteins get destroyed and all the micronutrients basically are lost. So there's really nothing good about that. You want to avoid protein powders as well. In most cases, they're full of additives that can disrupt your gut microbiome too, and it's highly concentrated. That's nothing you want when you're aiming for high testosterone. Now, you also want to reduce the consumption of any bran, cereal, gluten. If you're having oats in the morning, stop that. The reason is not only do these products contain micronutrients, they can also damage your gut lining, increase your insulin resistance, and result in gaining fat. Next up, we have soy. Soy contains phytoestrogens and can mimic estrogen in the body, which can also in return lower your testosterone. Corn products are also something you want to avoid because they're highly processed, mostly genetically modified, and often contain sugars. Also contains omega-6, which is highly inflammatory, and is also often processed into sugars and oils that can disrupt your hormones too. Now, you also want to skip raw cruciferous vegetables because these are actually high in go-to estrogens. They can slow your thyroid function and therefore slower your metabolism, so you want to avoid that at all costs too. Now, lastly, zero drinks, artificial dyes, and flavors. These can also disrupt your gut microbiome and basically harm your gut, cause stress, or disrupt your hormones. These are basically all the foods you want to avoid. Now, another big thing is your water intake. You want to ditch the tap water. There is a chance for contamination with different chemicals or other endocrine disruptors. You want to focus on high quality electrolyte rich mineral water only. What that means is it should contain at least 100 to 300 milligrams of calcium and magnesium per liter. So you want to get bottled water, ideally in glass bottles. But if you actually drink out of plastic bottles, just make sure it's being stored in a cool and dry place and make sure it's not exposed to sunlight because that way The plastic can leach into the water and enter your system and therefore cause hormone disruption as well. If you have a water filter at home, a reverse osmosis filter, you can basically use that to cook, but I wouldn't use it to hydrate because it basically doesn't contain any minerals. You want to make sure you're not drinking too little, but also not too much. So you want to make sure you drink around 3 liters as a man. Now, next up, super important, is your sleep. Your sleep has to be a non negotiable. You want to sleep 7 to 8 hours every night, and you want to make sure you go to bed at the same time every day. That way, you maximize your REM sleep, which is basically the main stage in which your body produces testosterone. That's something that's really super important. I can't stress this enough. Now, you also want to limit blue light before bed and use blue light blockers in the evening. You also want to limit caffeine and cool down your space. Basically, you want to make sure that your sleep is protected at all costs. So, you want to avoid any disruption through noise, light, or even EMFs. EMFs have shown to disrupt your REM sleep as well. And you want to make sure that your Wi Fi is turned off, your phone is on flight mode, and there's literally nothing that can harm your sleep. Sunlight exposure is also a very important pillar. Ideally, every morning you go and see the sunrise, and that way you can set your circadian rhythm, which also means better sleep and better testosterone production at night. Throughout the day, you also want to make sure you go and see the sunlight because we're humans, we're meant to be outside, we're not meant to sit on an office desk all day. So that's also something you really want to focus on. Now, you're probably thinking, how did the guy train to get so jacked? You want to train as much as you can and can recover from in order to maximize your testosterone, because especially high volume multi-set protocols elevate total and free testosterone in men, not only acutely when you're at the gym, but also over time. So that's why you want to really train hard, do heavy compounds in lower rep ranges around 4 to 8 reps, and you also want to add accessories and aesthetic builders in a bit of a higher rep range in order to get absolutely jacked. Now, what's important is that you keep the rest periods short to moderate, meaning for compounds, 1 to 2 minutes, and for accessories, 30 to 60 seconds. That way, you also make sure your acute testosterone spikes are high. Now, when it comes to the total overall volume, you want to make sure it is adapted to your standards, meaning what you can adhere to, what you can actually handle, like what is your training experience. All these things need to be factored in. Yeah, just to give a quick idea on what I did, I was basically on a push-pull leg split throughout the entire time when I maxed my testosterone. I'm still on this split, which is a 3 day on, 1 day off training schedule. It's pretty brutal because you're literally just going to focus on heavy compounds, and you're going to do 2 to 4 sets of the main lifts with 4 to 8 reps. And you also want to make sure you hit 3 to 4 sets of each accessory between 8 and 15 reps. Now, you're probably thinking this is a brutal workout split, and you're probably wondering, like, I can get away with this much volume. And trust me, if you have your diet dialed in, you sleep enough, and you focus on recovery, which I'm gonna get into in a sec, you're gonna get away with training this much and you're gonna get jacked as fuck. In order to actually recover from all this training, you need to sleep, sleep, sleep. Besides that, you can use tools like the sauna, mobility, meditation, and breath work to reduce your cortisol, because cortisol is basically the opponent, the enemy of testosterone. You want to make sure your cortisol is low at all times. That's why you actually shouldn't do high intensity cardio as much, because that will get your cortisol up. And what's very important also concerning stress management and also recovery, you need to listen to your body, because your mind, your body, your libido, your cravings, these are all things that are giving your body signs and you need to listen to them. So on the Natty Fix, you actually learn how to get to know your body and make decisions based on that. Now, the sauna is great because it increases your heat shock proteins, it temporarily raises growth hormone, like all these things favor in testosterone production, and it also flushes your toxins. So during my time where I really maxed my testosterone, I hit the sauna 3 to 4 times per week in order to really get away with the training this much. Now, you don't have to go to the sauna this much, but you definitely need to dial in your sleep, and dial in your diet to maximize your testosterone. Now, as for supplements, you basically don't need any. There's people claiming that ashwagandha or boron or all these fancy supplements will increase your testosterone. And while there may be something to those, the main pillars are your diet, your sleep, and your training. If these things aren't dialed in, you don't even need to worry about your supplements. And I'd rather have you save your money, invest the money rather in high quality food. But if you have the financial means, I would recommend you to invest in magnesium, zinc, cod liver oil, vitamin D2, K3, and grass fed collagen. Now, with these, you want to make sure they're high quality and not some random no name brand as well. If you, for example, aren't eating a lot of red meat for whatever reason, you can opt in for creatine. That would make sense because that's where it naturally comes from. But for example, me personally, I eat a lot of red meat all day, venison, beef, and I really don't feel any difference on whether I'm on a creatine cycle or off. So that's that. Another big one are stimulants. So the biggest testosterone killer is smoking. It literally disables the Leydig cells, which are the cells that actually enable your body to produce testosterone. And you want to also make sure to use caffeine responsibly. You don't want to be on a stimulant all the time. You want to make sure you're off of caffeine more days than you're on it, because otherwise your cortisol is elevated. You're constantly on a stimulant, and you really don't want that when you want high testosterone. Besides that, it can disrupt your sleep as well. So you want to make sure you use caffeine responsibly and use it to your advantage and use it only in cycles. Now, another big one is endocrine disruptors. So these are basically any type of pesticides, plastics, or other things that can be found in a variety of products in your environment that disrupt your hormones, meaning they can disrupt your hormone balance, they can result in lower testosterone, they can harm your androgen receptors, which is what binds to your testosterone. Basically, you want to make sure you wash your fruit and veggies in warm water and baking soda before consuming. Another thing is removing all plastics from your kitchen and rather opt in for glass and steel products, whether that's your Tupperware, your spatulas. Another thing is your pans. You want to make sure you go for iron cast pans instead of cheap non-stick Teflon pans, because these can also leach chemicals and microplastics into your food. You also want to make sure the fabrics you use, whether that's your clothing, in your bed sheets, or anything that touches your body, is basically not from any synthetic material, rather from cotton, linen, or any other product that's natural. Wool and silk are also good ones. Lastly, we got hygiene products. So anything that comes in touch with your skin, whether that's your soap, your detergent, your toothpaste, shampoo, and conditioner, all these things in your day to day life can leach things into your system that can disrupt your hormones. So, whether that's phthalates, aluminium, parabens, like all these things enter your bloodstream through your skin and can fuck with your hormone balance. So, what I would use is only solid body wash soap from Dr. Bronner's. I would use the liquid soap from Dr. Bronner's as laundry detergent. I would use hydroxyapatite toothpaste because fluoride can also harm your testosterone. Then you want to make sure you use all natural shampoo and conditioner. I personally use Moroccan oil. And then for my beautiful curly hair, I use Nux Huile Prodigieuse, which is a all natural hair oil that's not gonna fuck any of your shit up. Now, this is basically all you need to pay attention to in phase two. And when it comes to phase three, it's literally just keeping up with it. Now, you want to keep stacking the days, you want to optimize your environment and remove the poison I just described, and you want to stay consistent. How do you stay consistent? You optimize the training volume, you fine tune your routine, and you keep stacking the days as I just mentioned. Literally, once you have your routine dialed in, your success is inevitable. You're getting higher test, you're getting jacked, you're gonna lose body fat, you're gonna build muscle. Another big thing is your environment, because the environment that you're in can also dictate your hormones, meaning you need to figure out what's dragging you down. Are you around a lot of people that are drinking, smoking, and living the lifestyle that you're actually running away from? Like, these things are important. So you need to avoid toxic, unhealthy, passive or draining environment, because that's going to have an effect on your hormones as well. And once you're at the third phase, as I just mentioned, the results are inevitable. And my clients are proof for this. Now, these guys all got jacked, they built muscle, they got their six pack, they became high testosterone men on the Natty Fix program. So, my offer to you is, if you are tired of being out of shape and skinny and being constantly low on energy throughout the day, lacking progress in the gym, and therefore ruining your confidence, and basically living this shitty lifestyle that I used to live, and want to get jacked as fuck and strong, become a high testosterone man, and improve your overall health and feel amazing, become the best version of yourself, really, book a one on one call with me, and I will tailor the Natty Fix to you so you can become a high testosterone man that's jacked, that's respected, that's high energy throughout the day, and literally the best version of yourself.